Today is the Kentucky Derby, and through a couple years of that we're dealing with COVID, it's great to see that we're trying to get back to normal as fans are now allowed to attend. And this year is going to be close to maybe 100,000. Um, so yeah, it's great to see it's coming back to normal. And there are trends usually with these with the Kentucky Derby, and recently it used to be okay. Favorites have been winning due to the point qualification systems for the Kentucky Derby. And this in this case, it is a possibility. But I have another outlook to look at it, and I think the key race for the Kentucky Derby is the Risen Star Stakes. And as I'm speaking to you today, I also noticed that the track conditions is now good. So at the moment, it's not a fast track. Who knows? Maybe the day of the at post time it'll be a fast track, but it's the track is listed as good. And with that information, along with the Risen Star Stakes, uh, here are my insights for this year's Kentucky Derby. There are two horses or favorites in this year's Kentucky Derby, and both of them actually have ran in the Risen Star Stakes. And so one of them is the favorite Epicenter, who not only won the Risen Star Stakes, but also the Louisiana Derby, which last year produced the Kentucky Derby winner, Maldahoun. I believe that's the pronunciation. So he's been running really, really well. And also, when I mentioned about the good track, he's actually won on a good track at Churchill Downs. So that's a huge insight and benefit to understand when it comes to handicapping this race. And with that background, I think it's another information that can be very beneficial in betting this race. The other horse who also ran the Risen Star Stakes was Zandoon, and he actually finished third in the Risen Star Stakes. But his last race, he won the Bluegrass Stakes at Keeneland, which was on a good track that day. And so with Zandon and Epicenter, since they are the favorites and rightfully so, and since it's a good track, and in addition to that, the form of the Louisiana last year produced a Kentucky Derby winner. You can see why possibility those two horses are the favorites. And in fact, I'm actually going to use them in my exacta for this Kentucky Derby. So, and Risen Star, if you a little background, he was a son of Secretariat who won 2/3 of the Triple Crown, won the Preakness and Belmont, but finished third in the Kentucky Derby. Prior to his Kentucky Derby prep, he had won the Louisiana Derby and the Lexington Stakes. So that's why the Risen Star Stakes was named after that horse. And both Zandon and Epicenter have Secretariat blood through their dam. In horse racing, the main way, or the big way to win money in horse racing is not the straight up win, place, or show, but the exotics. That's where you're going to win a lot of money. And yes, it's also the biggest chances, because the likelihood to get certain horses in order is very hard. But once you hit it, the payoff is big. As the saying goes, no risk, no rewards. So with that in mind, here's a possibility to maybe use as part of your exotics if you want to use a trifecta or superfecta. I mentioned about the Risen Star Stakes as a key prep race. Well, here's a horse, Pioneer of Medina, and he's run on the Risen Star Stakes and the Louisiana Derby, finished fourth and third, but you know, with the form of the Louisiana Derby, sorry about my pronunciation. I think this is a good exotic to use for your underneath for either your trifecta or superfecta. An- Another horse that could be great for to use your superfecta is Taiba. So he won the Santa Anita Derby in his second start, and you look at the speed by figures I circled, over 100. Very, very impressive. However, there's, with the exception of Justify, who won the Triple Crown with very few races. I think only ran 3 times before winning the Kentucky Derby. You don't see horses who, with this least amount of starts, winning the Kentucky Derby. In the past, they have finished in, at least in the top 3 or top 4 if they're very exceptional, and then they're undefeated. One comes to mind is, I think, was yeah, sorry about that. I can't remember what horse that comes into mind at the moment. But Taiba could be a good exotic bet to use. I don't think he'll win. I do plan to use him either in my trifecta box or my superfecta. And with his ability, yeah, I think he has an opportunity to be in the top 4, maybe top 3, and I think taking advantage of that could be another beneficial with especially with his quality. Even though I mentioned about the exotic bets, such as the exactus, trifecta, and superfecta, most people who wager on the Derby select one horse to win. And for me, in the past, I usually have one horse that I would like, okay, I'm certain. Oh, I should say this was my Kentucky Derby horse. This year, it's really going to be tough. The 2 horses either I choose is either Epicenter or Zandon, and it's going to be a really, really difficult race for me to decide which one. In terms of the numbers, Epicenter has more impressive numbers than Zandon. However, when it comes to betting, you're trying to make the most money out of it. Where can you make the most money? Epicenter will be a solid favorite. Will be the favorite at the time he's 7-2, but Epicenter could be is at the moment second choice. Epicenter is the first choice. Zandon is now the second choice. Who knows, at post time the roles could reverse. But if I had to choose, and if I'm going to pick a horse to win based off the odds, I'm going to go with Zandon. The one thing that Zandon doesn't have is he hasn't had a buyer speed figure over 100, I believe. Yeah, he doesn't have a buyer speed figures over 100. Actually, looking back, I just noticed that actually he's the favorite, Mornline favorite. He's 3-1, whereas Epicenter is 7-2. So I know I'm rambling at the moment, but let me gather my thoughts. Who I think my Derby choice is for this year. Okay, at the end, I will pick Epicenter, in honor of Risen Star, who won the Louisiana Derby but finished third in the Kentucky Derby, and in addition to that, last year's winner of the Louisiana Derby ended up being by disqualification Muldoon. I'm gonna pick Epicenter for this year's Kentucky Derby in honor for the spirit of Secretariat's son, Risen Star. And in addition to representing Louisiana. And then also, if you look at the pedigree, Giant's Causeway, who's the grandsire of Epicenter, is a son of Stormcat, who is the grandson of Secretariat through his daughter Terlinga. So finally, I made up my decision, and just like the earthquake, Epicenter, the center of attention, is my Kentucky Derby choice to win this year.